We're joined by our KPRC2 Texans insider, Aaron Wilson, breaking down how these two big deals came together. We've got a massive contract extension and a big trade that have shaken up the Houston Texans. Aaron, we're going to start with the contract extension. Laremy Tunsil is now the highest paid offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. Again, how did this come together?
The way it came together was very quickly. In the last couple of days, they accelerated the negotiations. They decided, let's go ahead, let's pay him, and let's make it happen. And Nick Caserio and Laremy Tunsil and his advisors, Laulu Sani, Saint Omni, they get it done. And it was very interesting because this was something that, for a while there was in doubt. They hadn't started the negotiations. People were starting to wonder. The Kansas City Chiefs had some interest. They were kind of nosing around into the Laremy Tunsil. What would it take to get him? It would take a lot. And the Texans, ultimately, they decided to pay the player. And a lot of it's because they want to protect the incoming rookie quarterback. So you have a cornerstone left tackle. Very important that you get that done. It's a great deal. $30 million signing bonus, $50 million fully guaranteed, $60 million total guaranteed, $75 million, $25 million per year. Laremy Tunsil does it again, and he'll get more bites of the apple because he's still going to be young and in his prime. He's going to be one of the highest paid offensive linemen, total earnings in the history of the NFL.
When you're the highest paid something at your position in history, it obviously means you've done something right. What about Laremy made the Texans want to give him this deal?
He's special in terms of elite footwork, athleticism, his energy, his stamina, his ability to counter moves. He has every blocking trick you can think of. He's an elite pass protector. He allowed only 1 sack, highest rated pass protector in the NFL. And because this is a passing league and a quarterback league, and hopefully the Texans will join that arms race and have their own quarterback at some point, maybe Bryce Young. And you want to protect Bryce Young, especially Bryce Young's not the biggest quarterback. What Laremy does is different. And if you look at him, even physique-wise, he doesn't look like the other left tackles. He looks better than the other left tackles.
Well, you got potentially Bryce Young or potentially another rookie quarterback. They're no longer going to have Brandin Cooks because he's been traded to the Dallas Cowboys, a 5th-round pick, a 6th round next year. But the Texans had to eat some of that money. Why did the Texans have to eat that money for Brandin Cooks to go elsewhere?
It's essentially like buying the draft pick. And if you look at draft picks as currency, that's what you had to pay. You had to pay $6 million to get those picks. And the Cowboys are on the hook for $12 million of the $18 million fully guaranteed. And because they're doing this so soon after they did the contract, it's fresh ink. A year ago, they now have $22 million in dead money for Brandin Cooks. So no, this was a sort of get out of the deal type deal. And for Brandon, he had reiterated to them, I will not play for you. I'm not going to play for you ever. And he was that disgruntled. He didn't want to be a Texan anymore. So they accommodated him. And I spoke to Brandon today, and he appreciates that Nick Caserio was a man of his words, Brandon's, that he took care of him, got him traded to Dallas. It was interesting to do the part about the $6 million. Brandon flew from Portland, Oregon, where he lives in the offseason, came back here, signed an addendum, got this done on Saturday. All of the terms get worked out. They finalized the deal this morning, and now he is a Dallas Cowboy, and he is flying tonight to Dallas to take his physical and to officially join the Dallas Cowboys. And he couldn't be more thrilled to be part of a team that he believes is a Super Bowl contender, playing with Dak Prescott. So, yeah, good outcome. For the Texans, you kind of take an L on this one in terms of the trade chart, but it's a very tough sell because of all that guaranteed money. That's why it was hard to trade him at the NFL deadline, and it was still hard to trade him. They had other teams interested. Ultimately, Dallas made the most sense. And for Brandon, he's happy. The Texans move on, and they need a wide receiver.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, what went so wrong between the Texans and Brandin Cooks that he was that disgruntled that he wasn't going to play for this franchise?
Multiple factors. When he signed on, he thought that Davis Mills was going to play a little bit better, that the offensive game plan with Pep Hamilton was going to be better. Everyone was optimistic, remember, last offseason.
Yeah.
And then he saw how it really was, and it was not good. It wasn't good quarterback play. It wasn't good play calling. And now for Brandon, at the trade deadline, he was very upset because it was this close to becoming a Dallas Cowboy and being in the playoffs. And that's why he missed the Eagles game, because he was so frustrated. He wasn't in a point of mind. I know a lot of the fans think about, oh, is he a bad guy? No. I say this to everyone out there. Brandin Cooks is a great guy, and he's very respected in that locker room. Sometimes things go wrong in business, and players understand that. I don't think always fans and some of our media understand it, but I understand what Brandin Cooks, where he was coming from, and he was just unhappy. And they did fire a guy that he's very close to, Jack Easterby. That's just one piece of it. Mostly, he saw his prime years being wasted on a team that wasn't going to win, and that's why he wanted out. And I understand that. Everybody wants to win. And when you're 29 years old, you'll be 30 when the season starts. You're looking at your prime years. So who wouldn't want to play with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and those guys instead of the Texans, who are still in a rebuild?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a different conversation when you're talking about a good team and you have a receiver demanding the ball and this team's winning versus this is not a good team and you have a guy in the middle of his career saying that he wants out of a bad situation. And I think from a locker room standpoint, a lot of guys understand that why would this guy want to continue being in a bad situation? Let's talk about receivers, though, because this first-round quarterback is coming into a situation without a whole lot of established star receivers. Do the Texans have enough weapons at that position to accommodate a Bryce Young, a C.J. Stroud, an Anthony Richardson, or a Will Levis?
Great question, Ari. They need more. They've got to get a playmaker. I think they don't have a wide receiver one. Right now, obviously, Robert Woods by default would be wide receiver one. Nico Collins, probably wide receiver two. And then you got to wonder, is John Mechie going to get to that point? And also you got Noah Brown, who's more of a special teamer and did have some production last year for Dallas with a really good quarterback. I think they've got to draft one, and they've been looking at a lot of wide receivers, including TCU's Quentin Johnson, really big wide receiver, very athletic. They've also been looking at Jordan Addison from USC and several other wide receivers. They've even brought in Raheem Garrett from Maryland for a visit. He's more of a second-day or third-day guy, but they are looking very much at the wide receiver market. I just don't know if they're going to get involved with, say, an Odell Beckham. That would be more exciting, obviously.
Right.
But are they that many players away? I think there's so many players away that, to me, spending big money on someone like OBJ, I just don't see it. I don't think it makes sense. And his name has not come up. They also did not attend his private workout out in Arizona. I think that's telling.
So I thought that was interesting that maybe Odell Beckham could be a fit now that Dallas is maybe out. If they didn't go to his private workout, that sort of signals that he might not be a fit. But when you're looking at this receiver core, you mentioned there isn't really a true wide receiver one. You run down that list of names. Robert Woods, Nico Collins, potential first-round draft pick receiver, whatever rookie that is. We don't know what we have in John Mechie, and then guys like Amari Rodgers, Noah Brown. Does that make you feel comfortable, like as a fan, putting a Bryce Young or a Stroud into a situation where those are the guys you're throwing to?
Well, it's a great point, Ari. When you think about where they are as a team, as a franchise, it's something of an acknowledgement, a silent one. Are they really one player away? Or is it more next off seasons when you really go for the gold, when you're going to have over $100 million in cap space projected? I think that they're a team that's very much in flux, and they're probably better off having a homegrown wide receiver one than a veteran that's got a lot of tread off the tire. That's my opinion, and I have not heard them really getting involved in that wide receiver market. Like, they weren't on Alan Lazard. They weren't on a lot of these other receivers that have changed teams. I have heard rumors of Cooper Kupp is available. That'd be good, but that's kind of just a rumor for now, not like a firm report that Cooper would be out there. And I don't think they'd be the right fit for necessarily. I know the Rams are having a fire sale, but I just don't know if the Texans are the spot.
Yeah, this team has changed dramatically over the course of the day. Brandin Cooks is gone. Laramie Tunsil has gotten paid. And our KPRC2 Texans insider, Aaron Wilson, is all over it. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.